Welcome everyone to Tarot Journeys with Guy. How's everybody doing? I hope things are happening in your world. I hope that you're well and level, let's say, because we are in a very chaotic time. There's so much going on. Now, before I forget, please hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. My channel is probably being de-amplified. I am taking steps, I guess, to create a bigger reach. I just started a Twitter X account under Tarot Journeys with Guy, at Guy Journeys. You can find me there. Probably going to start a couple other social medias, but this is kind of the game that we have to play. But make sure that you're subscribed still, because I think what's going on too is bots are going in and unsubscribing people, and we're dealing with censorship, and we're dealing with these laws that they're passing in. Yeah, so hit the subscribe, like the video, that helps so much. Please leave a comment. I love the comments. People are so supportive and I'm really grateful. Thank you so much. But yeah, leave a comment. Tell me what you don't like. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you want to see. Tell me what's going on. I like seeing people's responses. So I thought I would do a little read today. Connect with source, connect with people, see what's going on. Same thing, but to help kind of create more of this stable form. And this is why we've been doing readings. This is why I've been doing the readings. I realize now why tarot has been so prominent. Simply, it's a way to get around these guys. It's also a way for people to sort of access forbidden knowledge, forbidden information, right? But it's a way of getting around talking about the world events and current affairs that isn't mainstream, I guess. I don't know. But I see the use of the tarot. I see what it's there for. It's always kind of been developed in that way and added on to as a way of people achieving freedom within their awareness and in their being, right? Simple. I mean, there's way more definitions to tarot and things like this, right? But so I had that realization. I mean, I've had that realization for a while, but I guess in the last couple of days, I really realized, especially with all the censorship and stuff, because yeah, they're cracking down on people talking about what's going on, right? And that's why we got to keep pushing back, and we got to keep doing what we do. And you know, the tarot is also so fascinating. It helps us sort of delve into the psyche. Okay. And the human psyche is what's fueling all of this, everything that's going on, right? And so by accessing that, we achieve levels of empowerment, and that's super important. Okay. So I just wanted to do a little read, a little check-in, I guess, to help stabilize. I know some people are really getting impatient that nothing's happening. They want stuff to move along quicker. I mean, there is a lot going on. But it's also kind of tough because it's kind of a little bit of the same. A little bit more of the same. There's been a little movement here, a little movement there, but a little bit more of the same, right? Especially with the readings. A lot of the same themes keep coming up, right? And this is because this is what we're dealing with. This is what we're approaching in the world. Just to achieve a little bit of stability and sort of a check-in, right? That's a little bit of guidance. I mean, when people would come to see me for readings professionally, like on private sessions, a lot of the time it was more for the talk. It was more for the chat, but also like a check-in. And often readings would come up. It would be the same reading for people, especially if I've seen them often, because that's the energy that they're moving through. So yeah, let's just do a little read. Let's see what's going on, see what people need to hear, what guidance is going to sort of help us. And then we'll just move on from there, see what comes up. So yeah, funny, two major arcana cards right in a line here, the Chariot and the Tarot, or the Chariot and the Tower. So interesting, the Chariot is the 7th card, and the Tower is the 16th card. 1 plus 6 is 7. That's how numerology works. So 2 7s. Energetically, kind of interesting. And the Tower 16 is a different vibration than the 7, which is the Chariot. Now the Chariot represents will, our will in alignment with divine will, and the activation of will. Okay, it sort of is this thing, the link between the higher mind and the lower aspects. Okay. So when it's reversed, it's the opposite of this. It's things being thrown off. It has a lot to do with impatience, not knowing when is the right time, when the wrong or the right time to act, that kind of thing, right? It's just being thrown off. Now, today is the EAS, EBS, EMS, FEMA alert, freak out beacon, I don't know, right? And I'm probably going to, this will be being put out during that time, okay? And so like that's one of those things, right? It's like there to throw us off, there to sort of keep us in their kind of vein versus our own, right? Versus the truth versus this manufactured reality, okay? And the Tower is this thing of like the Great Reset, is the controlled destruction of our society. But yet there's also this other thing of like taking apart this deep state system and catching these guys in the act and reformatting and fixing, right? So it's like the Great Reset versus the Great Awakening in a lot of ways. And I know a lot of people are talking like that. That's kind of normal, right? But that's what's taking place. So you got to really kind of keep sort of in tune, right? And like it wants, like, part of the Great Reset is to throw us off from our group of people, from the people that we connect with, right? So that's a big thing, is like we got to kind of maintain our connections and kind of not isolate ourselves, even though, like, because that's what they want us to do, right? So, and then the Chariot represents the mind, right? So it's a lot of meditation. Like meditation, this is what's going to help. This is the thing that's got me sort of where I'm at and in tune, okay? And that's kind of like the big thing, right? And so when we check in with Source and we check in with our higher self and the intuition, we recognize that there's something there that tells us that, yes, everything will be okay, but we also have to be aware, okay? That's a big thing. And so it's like them pumping the media and the politicians and everything, right? Pumping all of this stuff at us. But what's truth in it, right? That's what we're trying to sort of navigate. And what this is part of saying is leading us to is the meditation. The meditation and the silencing of the internal dialogue actually is what helps strengthen us from outside encroachment, intrusion, psychotronic attack, anything of the psyche. That's why they don't want people meditating. That's why they want people running around and being flippant and all sorts of stuff, right? And like and so the ancients, and that's what the tarot really has sort of brought to us, is this kind of understanding of the true form of the human being as it connects with spiritual and religious ideas, right? And like that's a huge thing, right? So that's where we're at. Many of us at home, like us, we have to kind of engage in our meditative practice each day. Prayer and meditation, connection and meditation. These are very important things. That's what is offsetting everything. That's what is the true source of the awakening. It comes from us. It comes from all of us individuals accessing that energy. So wow, that's amazing, right? When you really start to plug in, right? So yeah, it's difficult. I mean, one thing I've been kind of facing is not becoming the enemies I fight. In fact, not fighting them. Be wary of the monsters you hunt. for you'll become the very monster that you are searching out to destroy, right? And that's, wow, there's a very important wisdom lesson in that. And that's, yeah, it's very important. And so like what we are conducting is different than conducting a war, I guess, in a sense. Even though a war is being perpetuated against us, the pushback, the fight back is done in a different way, and it's not really a fight, but it is. But it isn't, coming from a different angle, right? So I think that's kind of one of the things. It's like really trying to show us like what is truth and what isn't, and like not to become these guys. They like, this is part of that great reset. Okay, so that's one thing. So the EAS, or whatever they're calling it, and then the Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy, got kicked out as the House Speaker. Okay, so what's going to happen? Things in the government can't kind of run unless there's a speaker there for the money and everything, right? And that's, I mean, this is another part of that battle. It's like sussing out these deep state shills, these unitarian, uniparty people, right, that are there to implement a totalitarian takeover. And that's like what we have to see. That's how we have to look at it. It's happening all over in every country. You know, we've got our own problems in Canada. Australia's got its own problems. UK has got its own problems in a way, but it all kind of connects in that sense, in how these power plays are being played out in the politic, right? Because the politic is more than just what's going on in the nation state now. It's definitely a global thing, okay? And that's kind of what we're witnessing. That's what we have to kind of deal with, okay? We are going to see some of these people jailed, some of these criminal bad actors. I'm not sure like the higher up, but we are going to see some of this. I don't know, like, well, I mean, we're already starting to see some of these people, like they're switching sides. Things are precarious for the deep state right now. And so they are switching sides, but yeah, we might see some of these guys actually jailed is kind of a deal. Simultaneously, the threat of, you know, President Trump being jailed and people that have been working with him and stuff, like, and like I was saying in previous readings, it's just every single time they kind of go after him, they get caught. And that's what's going to happen. I really hope to see some of the Biden criminal family in jail for sure, like Hunter Biden. But like that doesn't matter. It's more about, that's what they're kind of moving us towards, right? And so while we are free, we need to be free. We need to keep acting on that freedom. That's what this is kind of really talking about. Yeah, and like at the beginning of the reading, how I'm like, you know, shilling for subscriptions and stuff. I don't like doing that, but it's kind of necessary. And even talking about it from the point of view of like how many of us as small creators and people online, like some of your favorite people that you watch, they're being de-amplified, right? And so we have to kind of get into this thing of being conscious of that this is happening to all of us, and that slowly they're taking away these things that are helping us, that we enjoy, that we connect with, that help us kind of move through this turbulent time, right? They're being de-amplified, shadow banned, censored, taken off. We know this, right? But we have to kind of talk about it. We have to kind of and be able to move, I guess, and not be like, it's like the thing of starting a X. I've had many of them over the years of Twitter, and I really don't like Twitter. I do partly like Twitter, but I don't like Twitter. I'm not sure about Elon Musk. I totally jive with what he's saying right now, what he's doing, yada, yada, yada. But we kind of have to it's like pieces in the puzzle, right? And like moving things around and kind of, yeah. And moving towards, well, this is like a creative impulse. This is like a creative energy that's moving through people, and it's time. Like for instance, you know, people at home, like if you're thinking about doing tarot or anything online or anything creative, I mean, I'm addressing the online scenario right now, but this is our time. You're being supported. Do it. Even if you're getting 10 people watching or 100 people, doesn't matter. Do it for yourself, do it for the people around you. People will like it, especially if you're feeling that impulse creatively to do various things. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be political. Like, in fact, that's kind of the energy I'm feeling is it's more like this creative vibe that they're trying to destroy. Yeah, it's just like people are feeling the calling. So wherever it goes, but like creatively, we need people to be doing things on a creative level as well, right? And not to get too deterred. The internet is such a great way to get things out there, especially if you're not fully taken over by the fear-based ideas that are circulating, right? As we witness things kind of getting degraded, well, whose responsibility is that? That's ours, right? And so what we want to see in the world, like what we're like, especially like what we're consuming information wise and creatively, like creative content online and stuff. And I guess this applies to books and older media forms, right? It's that we're also to take part in it. So maybe there's many things that you want to express and feel, right? And maybe it's fresh, maybe it's something new. I don't really know. I got into filmmaking and video just out of nowhere. And it just surprised the heck out of me. Okay. And and like, regardless of what they throw at us and regardless of what they're doing, right? They can't stop us from creating and from creation. That's the tarot. I mean, they've tried to censor the tarot over many, many years. Like, I mean, people have always kind of tried to debunk the tarot. I mean, you know, and other spiritual forms, right? But it's gotten to us and it has to carry on and it has to continue on, right? So that's kind of a big deal. So, I mean, many of us at home, like that, we're not that taken by the politic. I get it. I mean, yes and no, right? And just, I guess, and just kind of realizing, and the message is that the spiritual creative impulse, that energy, has more of an impact in the world than the political engineering and the wag the dog behavior, you know, the spin doctoring and the social engineering and the media projection. Energetically, we have more oomph, more impact, and we have to access that however it is, right? Yeah, I get it. Like, a lot of people sit back and watch people do certain things and they go, oh, I wish I could do that. I wish I had that ability. Especially if you're saying something like that, give it a try. You might not be a whiz or, you know, a prodigy or however, but yeah, give it a try. That's a sign. I've learned to recognize, like, the things that I fear and the things that kind of resist, I kind of have to move towards to find out what it is. That's an important thing. Okay. One more and then we'll shut her down. All right, the moon. The moon reversed has a lot to do with fear. Purposely triggered fear, let's say, and also being hooked by our lower emotional body. Okay. And so, like, the moon, especially like what we're talking about, is a clear sign to trust the intuition, pay attention to the intuition. It's leading you in the right direction. Okay. That's a big part of it, because yeah, they're attacking, like all of these things, and this is what we keep approaching in the tarot, like all these readings, is that all these things outside, like the border right now, for instance, okay, that's serious, right? But what they're actually attacking is your perceptions and the emotional feeling. And so what they've been sort of prying on is this perception that we are going to go through a civilization collapse. Okay. They've been wedging that one since the end of World War II. And that has always been sort of there for the last 120 years, even more. And when you study history, you realize that this is an ongoing theme in the human condition, right? Well, they're preying on it. They're preying on the fact, and I'm talking about the deep state bad actors, that we have this fear. That's why they're promoting this, okay? So by the very fact that they're out in the open saying that, chances are, like, whatever collapse is going to happen, it's not going to happen in any way that people can actually predict. That's what all this AI stuff, the analytics, all of the programming, it's all of predictive programming. It's all about, and that's what technoscience, modern materialistic science is about. Is creating predictive models. Produce an experiment, reproduce the experiment, and produce predictive models so that you can reproduce the same effect and that there is nothing unknown, okay? It doesn't fully work, and that's what we're witnessing. That's why certain things also don't really make sense, okay? And that's a big part of it. The kids get this, younger people kind of get this on a certain level until they're about in their mid-20s. They start to kind of lose touch, and then, you know, hopefully they wake up and then they kind of start to get it again. But naturally, kind of kids kind of know when things are kind of off and they're not, but they start really young and bombarding them, seeking new areas. Like, we need to be seeking new areas. We know this. We've talked lots about this, but it's just kind of getting into this exciting energy of like, wow, look at the time we live in. This is like some of the things, like me being in Canada, I have always kind of looked at the United States a little bit strange. And it's funny, like the last couple of years being very pro-Trump and pro-United States and stuff is kind of like a real switch how I've sort of acted for the last like 20 years, I guess. And Canadians have always kind of identified themselves as not being American, okay? And so like this thing of taking human culture off of 100% dependence on the United States and the cultural identity, that's kind of a good thing. And that's something that people in the United States have to realize, is that the world does not revolve around you. I mean, there's more to it. And I know a lot of smart people from the state, I know we get it, right? But there's a lot of people in the States, like, I mean, that's part of the wake up call, is like recognizing like, oh my God, we're not in charge anymore, like in the world. That this isn't the same kind of circumstances, that the world doesn't revolve around the United States entirely. And partly that's good. That's freeing, right? There's a part of the United States that what it represents is very good. And the idea of freedom is just, you can't stress that even more, right? And the ability to be your own person and right? And to bear arms. This is another thing, right? I'm not sure. See, that's another thing. Canadians have always been like anti kind of gun, right? And I understand both. So I don't know. That's kind of, yeah. That's a strange thing for people abroad. They some of the things that they see in the States, they don't kind of get, because it's not part of their kind of cultural sort of take. Yeah, they're running out of ammo. Right? They talk about this on the news and all this, how they're running out of defensive weaponry for Ukraine. UK, Poland stopped giving Ukraine arms. Germany has got short. Canada, United States, I don't know what France is doing. Yada, yada, right? Like, they're running out of ammo. So what they're actually saying is that the deep state is running out of ammo. Same thing, like you saw this thing with Trump, with this court case with the fraud, and he's claiming he won 80% of that case, and just showing people like, holy cow, these guys they're thieves, and it's based on lies, right? And just like coming to an end of a part of a system that needed to come to an end, but what we got to be sort of, I guess, conscious of is like what's coming up, like the corruption, because we get a chance to carry on. We either get a chance to reset and restart the whole damn thing, or it's a continuation. Now, the deep state, the bad actors there, don't want us to see how that continuation has been going on for a long time. It's called empire. And this empire has been passed from era to era in secret, moving one piece over here, pretending it's not the same people, and back and forth, and it's the same groups of people controlling power. And that's what they don't want us to know. That's what like Klaus Schwab doesn't want you to know, is that if they get away with their great reset, that this is brand new, but it's not a continuation from the ancient world. And this has been a problem. This kind of thinking has been a problem for 2,000 years at least. Okay, and like I guess we haven't moved from that, but we got to realize like we have this opportunity to continue into the next age, the Aquarian age of Aquarius, and the principles that will bring, right? We get a chance to carry what has brought us here, right? And that's a big part of it. That's why the United States and our nation states and things can't be destroyed. They have to be maintained, right? The rule of law. This is the corruption within the system needs to be sort of dealt with. Okay, everybody. Hope you enjoyed. I hope that there was some clarity, you got a little bit of guidance, you learned a few things. Now make sure you subscribe and hit that like button. And wherever you are, I hope you're having a wonderful day or evening, and take care, and I hope to see you on the next one. Bye-bye.